The Secret of Shambhala by James Redfield, Chapter 10, Acknowledging the Light. John escapes and finds Will again, but Tashi is not with Will. Will scolds John for allowing his negative prayer to allow the Colonel to follow them. Final straw, no more negativity. We can go no further until we both can avoid this. Our energy must stay consistently high before we can progress through the rest of the fourth extension. We must be very careful not to visualize the evilness of those who are in fear. We have to look at them realistically and take precautions. But if we dwell on their behavior or hold images that they are about to harm us, it sends energy to their paranoia and can actually give them the idea to do whatever it is that we expect. That's why it is so important not to let our minds visualize the bad things that could possibly happen to us. It is a prayer that acts to create that very event. Monitor every thought, not just to have negative thoughts, but also to not miss an important intuition. To keep our prayer energy extended most powerfully, we must never allow ourselves to use it negatively. The legends about the prayer field. It begins with the realization that our prayer energy is real and that it flows out from us and affects the world. Once we have that realization, we can grasp that this field, this effect we have on the world, can be expanded, but we have to begin with the first extension. We have to first improve the quality of energy we take in physically. Heavy and processed foods build up acid solids in our molecular structures, lowering our vibration and eventually causing disease. Alive foods have an alkaline effect and enhance our vibration. The legends continued. The purer we vibrate, the easier it is to then connect with the more subtle energies available within us. The legends say we will learn to consistently breathe in this higher level of energy using our increased perception of beauty as a measure. The higher our level of energy, the more beauty we see. We can learn to visualize this higher level of energy flowing out from us into the world, likewise using the emotional state of love as a measure that this is occurring. Thus, we are connected within, like we learned in Peru. Only now we've learned that by visualizing that energy is a field that goes out ahead of us wherever we go, we can stay consistently stronger. The second extension revisited. The second extension begins when we set this extended prayer field to enhance the synchronistic flow of our lives. We do this by staying in a state of conscious alertness and expectation for the next intuition or coincidence that moves our lives further along. This expectation sends our energy out even farther and makes it stronger because we are now aligning our intentions with the intended process of growth and evolution structured into the universe itself. The third extension. This involves another expectation that our prayer field go out and boost the level of energy in others, lifting them into their own connection with the divine within and into their own higher self-intuition. This, of course, increases the likelihood of them giving us intuitive information that can further enhance our own level of synchronicity. It is the interpersonal ethic we learned in Peru, only now we know how to use the prayer field to make it stronger. The fourth extension begins when we learn the importance of anchoring and maintaining the outflow of our energy in spite of fearful or angry situations. We do this by always maintaining a particular posture of detachment towards events as they occur, even as we expect the process itself to carry on. We must always seek a positive meaning and always expect the process to save us, no matter what is happening. Such a mental posture helps us to stay focused on the flow and keeps us from dwelling on negative images of what might occur if we fail. If we find a negative image coming to mind, we must consider whether it is an intuitive warning, and if so, we need to take appropriate actions. But we must always return to the expectation that a higher synchronicity will guide us past this problem. This anchors our field, our outflow of energy, with a powerful expectation that has always been called faith. Fourth extension continued. The first part of the fourth extension is about keeping our energy strong at all times. Once we master that, we can move forward and extend our energy even farther. The next step begins when we fully expect that the human world can move toward the ideal expressed in the 10th insight and modeled by Shambhala. Moving your energy out farther and stronger in this way takes true belief. That's why understanding Shambhala is so important. Knowing that Shambhala has done it extends our expectation that the rest of human culture can do it too. We can readily see how humans everywhere can master our technology and use it in the service of our spiritual development, and then begin to focus on the life process itself, on the real reason we are here on this planet, to create a culture on Earth that is conscious of our role in spiritual evolution and to teach that understanding to our children. The most difficult part. To expand even farther, we must do more than just remain positive in general and avoid images of negative events occurring. We must also keep all negative thoughts out of our heads concerning other people. As you have just seen, if our fear ever turns to anger and we lapse into thinking the worst of others, a negative prayer goes out that tends to create in them exactly the behavior we expect. That's why teachers who expect great things from their students usually get it, and when they expect the negative, they get that too. Most people believe it is a bad thing to say something negative about others, but that it's okay to think it. We now know it's not okay. Thoughts matter. We must acknowledge the Dakini. The Dakini. When you face a crossroad, they'll show the way to go by making it more luminous. They are the luminosities that guide our way. Whenever we experience a luminous object or a pathway that seems brighter and more attractive, or a book that jumps out at us and draws our attention to it, it is the work of these beings. Whether they are called Dakini or angels, they are the same beings and they do their work in the same way. The legends say these beings have aided humans since the beginning of time, and they are spoken of in the mystical literature of every religion. Each of us will begin to perceive them more readily. If we really acknowledge them, the Dakini will make themselves more known. How to acknowledge the Dakini. We have to really acknowledge that they are there. That is very difficult for our modern minds to do. It is one thing to think the Dakini or angels are a fascinating subject matter, but it's another thing altogether to expect them to be perceivable in our lives. Watch alertly for every shade of luminosity. Keep your energy high and acknowledge them. Then we can begin to see more of the luminosities. The hard part is training ourselves to look for the subtle changes in light around us. But if we do, we can detect it more. And when they intervene without us requesting, it is our guardian angel making itself known, and that each of us has one. Will's parting wisdom. So Will says, don't forget what you just learned. If you start to think about the evil in the Chinese military, if you feel anger or disgust, you must shift your attention immediately to the soul in each soldier that can emerge. Visualize your energy flowing out from you and entering their fields, lifting them into a connection with the light inside so that they can discover their higher intuitions. To do otherwise is to send a prayer out that gives them more energy to be evil. Maintain a positive field and go beyond that to acknowledge the Dakini and expect the luminosities. From pages 209 to 217, the Dakini make themselves known and show the way to the temple. The main characters locate Tashi and see a vision of a possible future. While watching the conversation about internet surveillance, Will and John see the Dakini appear. Will and John search for Tashi as John realizes Colonel Chang is able to track him through the brain scan tech. Will, John, and Tashi view two boys through a window. They witness the Dakini intervene in the boys' quarrel and learn it was about being accepted. The scenes they witnessed of the surveillance debate and the boys' quarrel and how the situations were resolved were demonstrating how to apply the lessons in the chapter. And this is how the surveillance lecture was resolved. The people in the temple were sending out a prayer field aimed at helping to raise the energy level of everyone involved, which had the effect of easing the fear of those who were pressing for ever more surveillance and helping those who were resisting to find the courage to speak, even within those kinds of organizations. The Dakini were helping lift the energy levels as well. But then the characters acknowledge that they still don't know what makes the Dakini go there and take action. And the people in the temples were also doing something that they haven't figured out yet. How the boys' quarrel was resolved. The people in the temple were extending their prayer energy, visualizing the boys in that scene lifted into a higher vibration so that they could move past their fear and anger and find their higher intuitions to resolve the situation. Their energy helped the one youth find the best, most persuasive ideas. In the case of the other youth, the extra prayer energy lifted him into an identity above and beyond the social self his peers rejected. He no longer felt that in order to be someone, he needed their approval. It eased his anger. And that's the end of Chapter 10. I'll see you in Chapter 11. Thank you for watching. May the Force be with you.